The Fueled by Death guest.
Basically, would love to start talking about what just happened. You and the rest of the band from Whitechapel, you guys just finished up a short tour over in Europe, right?
Yeah, so late summer, like early fall, in Europe all over they have crazy metal festivals every weekend, like everywhere. So we just kind of hit those up on the weekends, and then through the week we play little club shows to get by. But yeah, we were over there for 3 weeks, pretty much played every day.
That's awesome. How'd it go? How are all the shows?
It's great. Like we had a time where we just building in Europe is it's not hard. It just takes like effort and going there and making it happen.
Uh-huh.
And when you're first starting out, like going over there and doing it cheap in Europe, like especially like 10 years ago or whatever, internet wasn't like it was. It was like it felt you were very far from home. But the more and more we go over there, the easier we can make it. And like staying in a bus instead of like shitty hotels, and
right, yeah.
A shitty hotel there is a shitty hotel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, am I gonna die here? Have you had any like am I gonna die here moments?
Only in actually Virginia Beach.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, we got a gun pulled on us one time. All like a bunch of us. So that was crazy. I mean, nothing happened. It was one of those things where you see a gun and you hear it cock. There was no contesting that. I just ran.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it had nothing to do with us. Like some guy got beat up at the show, I guess. So he felt necessary to go get some buddies and come back and just try to start stuff with whoever was there. And we were just, I mean, yeah, me and Whitechapel guys were just kind of standing aside, like not in the middle of anything. I think the show was over, so we were kind of like loading gear. And I think one guy tried to get in somebody's face, and then next thing I know, I see a gun and everybody's running around. So
wow, oh my god!
Yeah.
Like you travel Europe your whole life, and then you go to Virginia Beach one time, and somebody pulls a gun. It's like that says something.
Yeah, Europe's not been bad. I've heard some stories with like with shit, but nah, we have a good time over there. You just got to watch yourself. There's certain places they tell you not to go too crazy and wander off, but nah, we don't. It's pretty easy to stick around and not do much. Just hang out on the and stuff like that.
I just always imagine wherever you go in Europe is like the movie Hostel, and like you're just gonna get kidnapped and tortured.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in the back of your head anywhere you go. But I think it's like Mexico is bad for that more than anything for the touring bands. Like, there's some like if you get in certain places in like South America and I don't know. I think Russia. I don't think I think they just sometimes you just get caught up in like legal stuff over there, and I've heard bands having guns pulled on them just to like from the government saying if you play this, kind of thing. Like,
oh my god!
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. We haven't had any problems with stuff, but
Do
we try to.
Do you guys tour with security at all, or is it just you guys?
No. I mean, there's security at the shows, like that's provided for when we play shows and stuff, but we don't have like personal security or.
Right.
It's easy just to stay out of shit. Really, it's not that hard.
That's good. Do you after you guys just got back from Europe? I know you guys have toured Europe a bunch actually at this point. Do you have a favorite country to play over there, or a favorite venue even, or something?
As far venue, I don't know about venue as much as like big festivals.
Mm-hmm.
Download Festival in the UK is really awesome.
Yeah.
Anytime we're in the Netherlands, I get like Belgium, stuff like that. I like good beer, and the vibes over there seem cool. Like Amsterdam and shit like that, definitely pretty nice. I mean, the crowds more than anything. I mean, you're treated very well in Europe. They cater more. I'm not vegan or vegetarian or anything like that, but we get there like back home. Here it's talked about a lot, but like backstage, if you're a vegan, that just means you're getting the pasta without the sauce today or something like that. Like you go there, they have their own like, it looks like a freaking delicacy. They take care of you very well in Europe, and that's probably the biggest draw. I mean that, and then the fans are super loyal.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that from other bands too. And it's more of an experience in Europe to like go to see live music. That has really fallen to the wayside in America, which is a shame.
It's for us, like like there's the Bonnaroo's. I'm from Tennessee. I've never been, but it's like an hour and a half away from where I live.
Right.
And sure, there's 150,000 people there, but you would never see. I don't know. Maybe I think Mastodon might have got to play or Tool or something, but we would never get offered that slot because we're like we would. For whatever reason, we're not promoting the same vibes that they're trying to promote or whatever they might say.
You'd scare the kids.
Yeah, it's a lot of like jam bands and stuff like that. So.
But see, the difference in Europe is those 150,000 people fests, they're headlined by Kiss and frickin',
right.
and fucking Osbourne, and it's just not the same draw.
Yeah,
it's metal's just cooler over there.
Yeah,
it's just pretty much how it is. I mean, not that it's not cool here, but grand scale, it's definitely bigger.
Yeah. So Whitechapel is predominantly, I mean, you guys are billed as a deathcore band, but I mean, like you're metal through and through. And you guys were started in 2006, and you've been there since the beginning. What was? Can we talk a little bit about like the inception of the band? I know the name comes from Jack the Ripper. And where his murders kind of happened, and like so was that was that idea what spawned? Hey, let's start a metal band, or was it the other way around, or how did it all kind of coalesce?
It's just like what was cool at the time and what all of our friends, like all of us, we listened to. Like that was like the quote unquote deathcore genre. I guess it was kind of just beginning, if anything, because we were like one of the supposedly one of the forefront in that whole idea of metal,
Definitely.
But. Basically, it was just what we were listening to at the time. We wanted to play 7 strings and play metal and have some breakdowns. We were 20 years old. That's what was cool at the time. That's how it started. There was local bands there was 2 different local bands, or maybe 3 the guys in the band made up. And I was just kind of friends with all of them, right place at the right time. They knew I was a bass player, and they offered me to play in this new, pretty much like a local band super group. And they told me it was called Whitechapel. And, basically it was members of an old band were trying to get another band's members to join them to make this local super group, basically.
Awesome.
So I was just kind of in the middle of things. And first of all, it about didn't happen because there was 2 guitar players already in the band. And then they were trying to get me as a bass player, because we had a drummer and the guys that we were talking about, and then Alex, which was, he wrote a lot of music and was big in the scene and would have been he really good with booking shows in the beginning and stuff like that. So it pretty much almost didn't happen simply because 3 guitars, like, why would we need that? That's stupid. Like, screw it, let's not do it. We can't really kick anybody out. It's not our band yet. Like, we can't start out by kicking someone out. Like, that's just not how it works.
It's not a good omen.
Yeah. So, I mean, but, we really, at 20 years old, we knew that no matter what, it would be fun to do it. And a couple weeks of convincing and then writing a song and have somebody solo over a part that 2 guitars, it just made sense. We wrote 3 guitar parts and we said, fuck it, Leonard Skinner does it, so let's do it. If the logistics, anything about it was not looked at. It was literally just the thought of, we want to go out and play music and we're all friends, so let's do it,
Awesome. What got you into picking up a bass guitar? Like, what influenced you to start playing bass?
Green Day, basically.
Nice.
Me too. Oh, that's awesome.
I can't say anything else besides Mike Dirnt is the only reason. I mean, he pretty, like, when I listened to that band, they were not only like my favorite band when I was like a young teenager, 5th grade, like laying on my back listening to CDs all day long. But he kind of like made the bass cool.
Yeah.
3-piece band. You actually hear him like pretty much playing leads and stuff like that. And I don't know.
He stays so busy. I feel like he's so underrated. You hear him under the music just being a maniac. He's so awesome. Yeah,
he's a great dude too. From what I know, I actually had the opportunity to. I used to play Fender guitars, and I still play Fender amps and cabs and stuff. But we were going to go to Australia and play what's called Soundwave. I think it's not even a thing anymore, but it's a big festival tour in Australia, and Green Day was headlining. and it was proposed to me that I would be able to go there and interview him and have him interview me for Fender or something. Something that was like, what?
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's because they knew, because I, with my, like people knowing Fender, like I bought like his signature guitar and stuff like that because I just loved it. So they knew I loved him and the band, and they thought that'd be cool. And about, I think it was like 2 weeks before we were supposed to go, or not even 2 weeks, like a week before we were supposed to go, our singer's grandfather died. So, yeah, it was big. It hurt him pretty bad, and he didn't feel like, getting in a plane, flying 20 hours, it was like his dad. So we definitely understand, and that whole thing sucks, but, yeah.
Well,
oh, maybe one day you'll get to actually get that interview done, man. I got to meet him at Warped Tour, probably like in, I don't know, Jesus, I was young. That was like 1998 or something, and I got to meet him, and he was just such a nice and kind dude. You could tell right off the bat. He was just super cool.
Yeah, I got a pretty cool Green Day story as far as that goes. I went and watched them when I was 17 and was one of those kids that hung out outside and waited for their autographs and stuff and met them. And it was basically, I seen 20, long story short, I watched these guys walk on their bus, followed by like 20 model quality girls, not even joking. They looked at us and said, hey, we're going to go take care of some business. We'll be back in a minute. It wasn't like a perverted situation or, like they're going to crazy. Like, I think they're all married and stuff, but it was one of those things where they went on the bus and they said they'd be out in the middle of it. Kind of didn't figure they would, but with, 20 minutes later, they come out, signed everything, hung out, shook hands. And those guys are freaking rock stars. Yeah. And at that time they were on top of the world and still are, but yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome.
It's always really cool to see icons take the time to actually take care of their fans and actually like carve out and purposely like pay attention to them. I think that really goes a long way, and we kind of all remember when that has happened with this person or that person.
When you look up to somebody so much and then you finally do meet them and they treat you like crap, it definitely isn't
yeah, it's a dream killer.
Yeah, so those guys, I was still young, had no idea I was ever going to be in a band and tour and somebody would ever ask me for my autograph, but those guys had every reason not to give me the time of day, and they definitely did, and I'll never forget it. So nothing but positive things to say.
Have you ever gotten the opportunity to like do that yourself, like just actually be able to stop and take time to like take care of your fans?
Of course. That honestly, like for me, I feel I'm still at the point where it's like, you really do want my autograph? All right, sure, you can have it. You know what I mean? But I got the question. I'm like, all right, But if like same situation, if we were on tour, someone would let us know that there was people outside waiting for our. It's, if anything, like one person goes outside, shakes some hands, and then I come up on the bus 20 minutes later, and there's a piece of paper said, "Hey man, there were some kids here. Sign this. I'm gonna go find them and give it back to them." Something as easy as that. Like, just. We do, my thing, we do little meet and greets after the show and stuff, like shake hands and take pictures, and basically a sanctioned place that, it's made to do it so no one feels awkward and it's not sketchy or anything.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
When you guys started, so you kind of touched on this a little bit. When you guys started the band, it was, the idea of like this local supergroup kind of thing. When did it kind of go to the point where, oh man, let's try and do this as a career? Like, was that always the goal from the inception of the band?
That was it, because the local supergroup thing, that sounds dumb, but basically there's local bands, and when we formed Whitechapel, we headlined our first show, if that makes sense, like in the scene. Like, we never played below anybody that was like around here, because it was made up of the bands that were already headlining, so it's like,
so you were already established in that scene.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we got together, we just went to Hooters one night, I remember, and it was one of those things that was like, if we do this, like I got out of school and got a factory job, but I was making, decent money, bought a car and all this stuff. And it was one of those things that was just like, I'm going to, you're going to have to sell your car, you're going to have to sell your car, living situation might not be here, but it was one of those things where we believed in it enough that we wanted to at least try. Never in a million years thought we would be doing what we're doing now, but the intention was to try and get everything we could. And at that time, MySpace was huge, and we lucked out on that because, you know, one of our first tours ever, if not, like the first tour ever, there was more kids that knew more words and, you know, the songs better than the kids that from our hometown that grew up, you know, the last couple of years listening to us all the time.
Wow. So you guys really gained a lot of influence because of the early days of what you said, like MySpace and like the internet and stuff like that.
MySpace is why we were able to go out and be as successful as we were in the beginning, for sure.
That's incredible in the landscape that we're in today, because you don't even think about it. Like, I mean, most bands, when they form today, the first thing is like, I got to make a website, or I got to get on Bandcamp, or I got to, you know, put my music out on the internet somehow, you know. But it's like, what was that? Was it something so new for you guys? Was it kind of like a learning curve to utilize something like that to make it?
It was a couple of things. It's like all about the right place at the right time. So we were in the know, per se, when it comes to music and MySpace, because that's what we were 20 years old. That's what we did. Like, we listened to music on MySpace, like with the top 8 or, you know, whatever they had back in the day. If you had a couple hours on your hands, you could go listen to a band. You could go to a band's page, listen to one of their songs, and look through their top 8 and find 8 other bands that you could listen to, and get lost in this rabbit hole that goes 8 here to the next band, 8 here, and it's all friends of friends, and you're not going to put somebody on the top 8 that doesn't like sound like you or influences you. So you could literally sit on MySpace and find music very easily. I mean, I'm sure that you could do that on YouTube and stuff like that now, but when I was 20 years old, or, you know, 18, 19, whatever, MySpace, like, it pretty much was how I found every band that I listened to at that time.
Totally. I was exactly with you. I mean, like,
I'm almost nostalgic over that. I forgot about all that.
Would you remember you could embed music on your page too? So like, if people were to come to your page, the track would play, or you could have a listing of tracks play, and like, it was an incredible community, and MySpace was born from bands. Like, it really was. Like, whereas Facebook was born as the idea of, you know,
born from college,
you know, and like college students and stuff like that. MySpace was born around bands, and like, and it's cool to hear, you know, that it directly influenced the success that you guys achieved, and something like that, because I mean, like I said, that's the landscape we live in now, you know, but that was like so new back then.
How quick did it take off for you guys, as far as when you started, you know, gaining some ground? Did you right off the bat sell your car, go on tour, start making money?
Like, that's kind of weird. Like, well, let's try to say here, the first year the band was together, we were just like a local band, and then we did little Weekend Warrior stuff, and then we were contacted from a label in the UK that wanted to put our CD out, and they wanted to bring us over there, and it kind of made it look more real, you know what I mean? Like, we were going to go to the UK and play shows, and
like, you're legit.
Yeah, it felt like, you know, I mean, it wasn't, you know, Warner Brothers coming to us, but it was, you know, like when the band said they wanted to be signed, we were going to be signed by a label. And I remember going, you know, I was still at my parents' house and walked in my parents' room. I was like, hey, we're going to get signed. And Dad, you know, kind of like, all right, well, that's good. And just like goes back, like, whatever that is. Like, no, I'm going to go play in the UK. I'm going to go play a show in like London, or I think, like, coming up. And they're like, okay, I guess this is real, you know, and they've always supported it and all that stuff. But, money, I don't remember ever making much money. No.
You know, it's the plight of the musician. It really is. You do it for the love, obviously, but there's never, no matter what type of music you play, it's not like you're going to become a Rockefeller out of it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that the first conversation was, you know, everybody, like, what bills do you have? All right, well, you just don't have those bills. So it meant living at home. And one thing that we did in the beginning, and we've always done and still do, is the bands paid for our cell phones. Like, when you were 20 years old, you know, that was probably I mean, if you didn't have a car you were paying on, if you owned your car and you lived at home, then that's pretty much the only bill you had, you know?
Right.
So the band took care of that, and you just, you know, you pretty much just you were taken care of. I've never, like, not had money or anything like that, per se, but it wasn't like I was rich by any means.
Right.
You've never gone hungry, but you're not
right.
You're not like a baller.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that like the band that I'm in is ever going to make me a billionaire. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the poppy Justin Timberlake stuff, but we're able to go play music around the world and see the world, and I make as much money as I would if I was doing anything else, probably.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So going off that, you know, it's obviously it's not about the cash, although you're doing okay. What fuels you to keep on, like, going out every day, going out on all these tours, making albums, which you guys have made 6 in the last 10 years, which is very impressive. Like, what fuels you to keep going?
It's just, that is life. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we've known for our adult years, and for me, there's nothing better than my job when I'm okay with, you know, I don't want to be gone all the time. Certain things suck, yada, yada, yada. But the way that we've been able to do this and last, and the way we're able to tour now, it's comfortable enough that there's nothing that I would rather do. You know what I mean? Like, we played in front of, you know, like 30,000 people or something, you know, a couple of those fests in Europe, which, to say that out loud just sounds kind of crazy, but yeah, I mean, that's, you know, you can't really compare that to anything else, really.
Right.
How long do you think you're going to keep it rolling? How long could you do this for?
As long as everybody wants to do it. I mean, as long as people still come to the shows, and as long as still people, you know, buy CDs, and, well, not really, buying CDs doesn't really do what it do.
CDs and MySpace, what are these things?
But yeah, I mean, as long as there's people coming to the shows, and like when in Europe, man, every time we go back over there, it's always bigger and better. So it's cool. And in the States, like, there's plateaus with, you know, how music goes and genres, and, you know, that's just how things are. But we've never went on tour and not felt like it was worth it, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, last year we saw the 6th album you guys came out with, Mark of the Blade, to rave reviews. You know, you guys have been touring really hard on that and pushing that. And it was just announced that starting in November, you guys are going to be going back out on tour, because you guys seem to never stop. And this is going to be your 10th anniversary tour of your debut album, correct?
Yeah, so we're going to play. It's like I think they titled it a celebration of the first record. So we're not going to play the whole thing. I think I don't know. I mean, some people probably want us to, but for us, we're just going to play 4 or 5 songs off that record that, you know, that we feel still come across cool, and we still want to play and still have fun playing. And then after that, we'll probably, you know, do a regular, you know, medley of all the hit tracks, per se.
Right. Do you still play any of those songs in sets right now, or are you dusting off all this stuff for it?
Yeah, we've always tried to keep a couple of those songs. We try to play a couple songs from every record, really.
Yeah.
When we go. And a couple of, you know, some of the old stuff, you know, that's the only thing that some of these kids know. I say kids, but they're, you know, they're old as me now, probably, if they listen to that. But there's a lot of people that don't know that stuff either. So you kind of got to go back and forth. And really, we just try to play. We don't try to play the same thing every time, but there's certain songs that we know are going to go over well, and some of them are the old songs, but some of those songs we haven't played in 10 years, that we'll probably bring out a couple of those for sure.
Right. And I have to ask, in August of this year, you guys parted ways with your drummer, and in the last couple tours, you've been you've been touring with drummer Jason Westmoreland, and to rave reviews. Seems to be a great fit for the band. Is that going to continue, or are you guys looking for a permanent fix for that position, or?
Yeah, I mean, with Chase. Okay, we just had our old drummer. Like I said, like, as long as people want to do it, we're going to be here. You can't expect everybody to do this forever, and that's one of those things. There's no hard feelings. You just separated, but at the same time, we were going to keep going, and we had people that were interested, and we'd all known Chasen. I hadn't personally known him, but had known his playing, and we were stoked to get him out, and it was cool to have he's playing our old drummer's parts and stuff, but it was cool to hear a different take, and it definitely didn't feel like there it didn't take long. He's a great drummer. He learned the songs, came out, and you'll see him this fall or winter, I guess it would be.
He will be on the 10th anniversary tour.
Yeah, unless something bad happens. As far as I know, he's going to be there.
Very cool, very cool. Well, like you said, you've already gone out, played a bunch of shows with them already, so the comfortability factor is there, which is good.
Yeah, we don't want to go have like a new drummer every time we go out. Like fans, become partial to people, and it's just we've been doing this for 10 years, and like you said, had 6 records. So we're not going to just get somebody in the band tomorrow, kind of thing. Like we're going to make make somebody try out, per what you call it, I guess. But
Right.
Go on tour with us, hang out. Everybody meshes, and it makes sense. And you want to write records with us and be a part of this and go at it 110%. Then that's what we're looking for sure.
Awesome.
Band dynamics can be pretty tricky sometimes. I mean, it's very important to have good chemistry, but with a lot of bands, there's a lot of strong personalities. Do you feel like you guys get along very well? Like, how does that go?
Yeah, I mean, there's no arguments ever. Like, I mean, people get upset. I mean, it's one of those things, like you live in a small fucking area with someone for months, like, things happen, but we've been doing this for so long, what pisses someone off, or when you don't want to be around, we're all family at this point. It's kind of maybe cliche to say that, but these are people that I've spent literally, years with, like, not leaving, you tour with bands for 3 to 4 weeks and you become brothers with them. Well, I'm, how close would you get to the people that are in your actual band that you're with every time, you go out? So you get close and what's up, and everybody's there to do the same thing. So you kind of work together to become, make everything work out way it needs to.
Yeah. Speaking of working together, what is the writing process like for Whitechapel? Do you guys all write together, or is it a singular, idea that's kind of fleshed out, or?
So it's very, I guess 2017 of us, but everyone has their own. When I say everyone, like the guitar players, like 3 or 4 guys probably write the majority of the material,
Mm-hmm.
and then at home, like coming together, here's some ideas, and then when we're going to record a record, everybody's there together to give input to make it a song. So like everyone's putting together ideas at home individually, and then 3 or 4 more than everybody else kind of vibe. But then everybody is writing by the time the record is released. There's input from everybody, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. That's really cool to hear, actually. And this might be too early to ask because Mark of the Blade did come out just last year, but are you guys working on new material yet?
Yeah, so like with us and how the industry is, like if you're not putting out new material, if you're not touring, then you're not driving the business.
Right.
You're not fueling the machine. So you will see a lot more records coming out from bands just because that's how you stay afloat. I mean, not only is it, you're getting the new songs out to tour, but it's like, that's just how you make money, really. You can't play the same stuff all the time. It's just not how it works. You have to be driving. And when we're at home, it's pretty much a known thing that you have to be doing something at all times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, as much as I can tell from the inception of the band till now, you guys have hit the ground running and have never stopped. I mean, so many tours under your belt, 6 full-length albums, and to the point where, I mean, you're at the point in your career now where you're about to go on a tour as a retrospective of your first album. Does that screw with your brain a little? Like, is it weird to have that milestone?
The only reason it's not is because I feel like it's what every band is doing right now.
It's true. It is true. That is.
And like I think that's why we like try to talk ourselves out of it for so long, is because it just seemed like that was what the cash grab at the time. It's like, well, we've been a band for 10 years. Let's play the old stuff. And
Right.
like I felt like every single band was coming out with something to that effect. And eventually it was just one of those things where Tom was like, well, why not? You know what I mean? Like if people want it and, it's the reason why we're here, let's like that's another reason why I'm gonna say we're gonna play like 5 songs maybe off of the 9 or 10. I can't remember how many songs are on it. Probably 9 or 10, but we're not gonna play the whole thing. We're just gonna play a 4 or 5, I would imagine, songs off that record, and then go into a more like a normal set after that.
Well, that just sounds amazing. Like I said, that tour is going to start in November for all of our listeners out there. And finally, I want to ask for people, obviously, to follow the band Whitechapel. That's very easy on all social media. You can go over and find Whitechapel. But if they want to follow you specifically, Gabe, do you do social media? Is there anything that you want to shout out?
Yeah, I mean, I just have a Twitter. I don't have a Facebook or Instagram or anything. I just got on Twitter, and I decided that was enough for me, like years and years ago, and I never fell into the Facebook or Instagram thing. But it's just at Gabe Crisp, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, that's super easy to find, and we'll obviously tag you in that.
And how can they find you on MySpace?
Yeah, right. I'm sure I'm still out there. Actually, I think I got it deleted. I was able to, with my connections in the biz, I didn't have my old email to like go in there and actually delete it or some shit. And I was able to talk to somebody, and they were able to go, like somebody at MySpace or something was able to go in there and actually delete it, I'm pretty sure.
You know, that is no joke. And I'll tell you a quick story as we're finishing up here. Like, I was in an old band, and when MySpace kind of re-evaluated itself, this is about 5 years ago at this point probably, we got it into our head, hey, wouldn't it be great to unlock that old profile and then make a new profile? And we couldn't unlock the profile, and we couldn't make a new profile because that profile was still there with that band name. So I had to jump through so many hoops to the point where me and the singer had to take a picture of ourselves with our licenses in the picture and send it to MySpace to prove that we were who we were, and they would allow then us to delete the page. It was crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
God bless MySpace.
I mean, I remember wanting to get mine deleted for whatever reason, and I was able to. Somebody's like, yeah, I know somebody at MySpace. I'll get it deleted. I'm like, all right.
You are super lucky, man. Well, again, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us, and good luck.
No, man, I definitely appreciate you even caring enough to give me a shout,
Oh, man, we're always interested in talking to interesting people, and you are definitely one of those. And
thanks, man.
Good luck on all of your endeavors coming up, and we'll be looking for you out on the road.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to catch you when you come around this area.
If you're in any show that you guys are near, let me know, and we'll hang out.
I think we were eyeballing Poughkeepsie, maybe, because that's not too far from us.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll drink some coffee.
Awesome. That'd be great.
Sounds great, man.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Death Wish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.